Never blaspheme the gods. You can choose not to believe, but you must not disbelieve. It is said that there are gods above our heads, and our ancestors have long been aware of their existence, but do you believe this? A man almost lost his life just because he took the incense offerings for the Zhongyuan festival to vent his anger. The weirdness of this incident is beyond your cognition. In the summer of 2015, my friend Li Zongping and I found a job delivering express in Guangdong. The boss said that it was good every month. If you work hard, you can get at least 3 steamed buns, and they also said that you will definitely pay on time. But after working for 3 months, the first month's salary has not been settled yet. The most annoying thing is that today we went to the boss to ask for money, but it didn't work out. We were so angry that we left the company and ran to a small barbecue stall to drink beer to vent our emotions. Li Zongping has a quick temper. He had a quarrel with his boss today, and he didn't calm down even when he got to the barbecue stall. He kept mumbling and drank faster than usual. When we were walking on the road home, we found a strange smoke in the air, which choked us to tears. It turned out that on the road, people were burning paper everywhere, and there were also paper ingots. Some people were even scattering small steamed buns made of white flour at the intersection. Only then did we realize that today was the Ghost Festival, or the Ghost Festival. It is said that today the gates of hell are open, and all the ghosts will come out to enjoy the incense. Li Zongping and I have never believed in these things, and we thought that we would just not interfere. Then we didn't want to pay any more attention to these things, so we turned into a small alley and wanted to go home as soon as possible. However, as soon as we turned into the alley, Li Zongping stepped on the command on the ground, and a gust of evil wind happened to blow, and the command came towards us, blowing. The wind blew so hard that both of us were coughing. Li Zongping was already angry, and now he was even more angry. He muttered, "Even you damn guys are bullying me." Then he kicked over the incense, candles and steamed buns on the road, as if he could vent his dissatisfaction in this way. He stepped on them all the way, crushing the steamed buns into pieces, and kicked the candles and paper money into pieces. He didn't listen to my advice at all, and kept venting his anger until he calmed down a little. Then he continued to walk home staggeringly. Because I drank a lot in the evening, I went to the corner to relieve myself halfway, but who knew I insisted on playing? I turned around and found that Li Zongping was gone. I thought to myself, this guy is really impatient, did he leave me alone? Just as I was about to turn around and chase him, I heard a rustling sound coming from the corner of the alley, as if a group of people were doing something. My heart was tense at the time, afraid that something might happen to him, so I hurried over to check. But when I walked into the alley, the scene in front of me almost scared me to death. The whole alley was full of ghosts squatting, scrambling for the steamed buns on the road. What's even more creepy is that Li Zongping was also among them, scrambling with the ghosts. When I saw him, he looked like a demon from hell. He only had the steamed bun in his hand in his eyes and didn't care about the outside world. I was stunned at that time and stood at the entrance of the alley, not daring to move. Everything in front of me was beyond my cognition, and I didn't know what caught their attention. Those ghosts turned their heads to look at me and stared at me. I was so scared that I immediately hid in the corner of the alley. I just wanted to run away. But when I thought that Li Zongping was still in there, I couldn't convince myself to leave him alone. So I plucked up the courage to walk into the alley, wanting to pull him out. Thinking that all the ghosts had disappeared this time, Li Zongping was the only one left, still squatting on the ground, eating the steamed buns. At that time, he seemed to have lost consciousness completely, as if he was controlled by something. I shouted at him a few times, but he didn't respond at all. Seeing that the ghosts had disappeared, I hurried forward to pull him away, but he struggled desperately, with only the steamed buns on the ground in his eyes. He struggled and stuffed me into his mouth. It took a lot of effort to pull him out of the alley. After coming out, Li Zongping began to vomit crazily, followed by severe abdominal pain. There were also food residues flowing out of the corners of his mouth. Seeing him like this, I rushed him to the hospital. When the doctor at the hospital performed a gastric lavage, he found that what Li Zongping vomited was not only the unchewed buns, but also a large amount of paper ash that was synthesized into a muddy substance by gastric juice. The doctor asked me what was going on and why I was torturing myself like this. That night I returned to the alley again. It was past midnight and no one was burning paper on the street. I brought yellow paper and incense and candles, and bought a bottle of white wine to light the paper money. Watching them fly into the air, I suddenly understood a lot of these traditions and customs. We can choose not to believe, but we must not blaspheme, because existence is reasonable.